love this part. Okay, hi everybody. It's Wednesday at 4 o'clock Eastern, so of course it's time for Healthy You. I'm here with Wingman Kristen, all the way over from the UK, and Andy, ironically enough, all the way over from the UK. So we have across the pond Healthy today, and total fun in the green room as we learned how to use Twitter for our comment feed, and we have had so much fun. I'm sorry, I'm still laughing. Today we get to sit down with Andy. A lot of people know him around the Plus for a lot of different things that he does, one being my lower third. This is the Andy who did my lower third. And I told him it was going to be funny to do a shout out with him sitting next to me, but I had to do it. And I found out, we just talked, and we hooked up back in January on a conversation with Mike Fountain about exploring and building our New Year's resolutions. And it has been an incredible connection since then, from a world to change to a couple of meet and greets I had for Healthy You, where I found out Andy was a hypnotherapist. And there's just so many facets. I had to get him on the show to find out all of his path, from what he's doing to the dreams he has, and they're huge. So Andy, I'm just going to let you take over and start with your path.
Okay, thanks for having me on, Tracy. It's a real privilege to be on the show today and share my path to a happy and healthy you, I could say. I'd say it started quite a long time ago. I've always been passionate about health and fitness, you could say. But like many people, I had you could say the modern day viewpoint on health today. When I left school, I got heavily into fitness. I did a lot of weight training. You could say that's probably not very fit, but needless to say, I was very much into that, and I did cardiovascular exercise as well. But I did that for a long period of time, and actually I still do exercise and fitness nowadays, but not to the same degree as I did it back then. When I got to university, I became interested in hypnosis and hypnotherapy. It was during my third year, and I became intrigued by it. I first of all read a book by Paul McKenna, which was Instant Confidence. I went through a bit of a challenging time myself during that period. And yeah, I looked at instant confidence, and I looked at different areas of hypnosis and hypnotherapy. One of the guys that I learned from an early stage was a guy called Igor Lebenleski. I hope I pronounced that correctly, but really fascinating. And from there, when I learned about hypnosis and hypnotherapy, it wasn't until I actually left university that I went on a course for neurolinguistic programming, hypnotherapy, and something called timeline therapy. I really enjoyed NLP and hypnotherapy, but I wasn't sure about timeline therapy. I mean, I asked my trainer at that point, and I said, I'll be honest with you, Bruce, who was my trainer, I don't really want to do timeline therapy. I'm not sure if it's for me. I'm not sure it's something that I'm interested in doing. And with that, Bruce has actually said, if you want to fully qualify, you have to actually do all three trainings. So I thought, okay, I'll go and do all this timeline therapy training. And so I went on the course. I'd done a lot of pre-course study about what it was, and I was absolutely blown away by timeline therapy and what it was. Now I'll give you a brief overview of what timeline therapy is, because it did fascinate me. When we go through life, we experience all our main negative emotions, and the 5 main negative emotions are anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt. And as we go through life and we have those emotions, we put them, you could say, into a rubbish bin, and we try to forget about them. And the more you put stuff in a rubbish bin, the more it fills up. And the more it fills up, the more it starts to overflow, and that's when you get overwhelmed by situations, and it's hard to deal with things. So what timeline therapy does is help you get rid of all your 5 main negative emotions: anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt, and really empty that rubbish can. So literally empty it, so you've got nothing left, starting from scratch, you could say. And I tell you what, it felt absolutely fantastic. And the first time I did it, you sort of feel like you're on a different plane. You know, you're not on Earth at the moment. You're probably in between Earth and heaven. You know, it was incredible. But that was my experience. And once I'd learnt about timeline therapy, I thought, this is strange. You know, there's so much that I've learned within NLP, hypnotherapy, and now timeline therapy, and I saw the benefits so quickly. I thought, surely there's other things. There's so many other things out there that would be a huge benefit to me in terms of living a natural and healthy life, and in terms of mindset. And that's when I went on a journey to find out more about all these different areas of natural health and well-being. But for me, timeline therapy was that big shift. NLP and hypnotherapy was a big shift anyway, because it really helped you think, made you think differently about life and how we approach different situations anyway. So I learned so much just by going on the courses initially, which helped me.
Was the timeline therapy sort of parallel to what traditional therapy is, in regards it took you a while, or was this timeline therapy both the learning in the course and then experiencing it from a facilitator? And one last question, because Lainey says I'm distracted by Andy Brine's accent, and I'm right there with you, sister. I am too. I'm trying not to just be mesmerized, but hey, you're a hypnotherapist. Maybe I'm supposed to be mesmerized. But when you went through this course and this therapy, some of us have huge rubbish bins that are overflowing from past of those 5 or those 5 negative emotions. Does the rubbish bin get emptied immediately, or is it a slow layer by layer process like conventional therapies?
I'll give you an example of what it is. So I needed to learn timeline therapy because it was a type of regression therapy that involved some of what I'd studied within NLP, and much of what I'd studied within hypnotherapy. And with a lot of approaches within hypnotherapy, what they do is they go back to the root cause of when a situation occurred, and often at times we don't know where the situation occurred. So with timeline therapy, it's very much a regression type therapy, where you go back to a memory that you might not know from the top of your mind. Maybe you know it unconsciously, but it's bringing up the unconscious memories that you have within you, say from the first 3 years of your life. So within the first 3 years of our life, we experience the 5 main negative emotions. And yet, within the first 5 years of our life, we probably don't have a memory that we can remember. If I asked you guys, have you got a memory when you were 3 years old? Have you got one that you can think of now?
I do.
Okay. It's
my very, very first memory.
Was it? Would you say it was a significant one when you look back at it? A birthday party, or?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it was a significant memory in my life.
Okay.
I can remember the smells, and I can remember completely the event. But I am so in tune with what you're saying, because I've done something very similar, identifying events in my life that have been time and date stamped that identify who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful. So, Kristen didn't ask when she was sharing her memory, what is NLP?
NLP is neuro-linguistic programming.
Okay.
So it's the study of the mind, which is neurology, study of the language, and P is for programming. So it's using our mind, well, using our language to reprogram our mind to create different experiences and make changes in our lives.
Well, you know, we've been talking for almost a month now about sustainable change and how it applies to big picture, and then, you know, also how it applies to our everyday life. And every choice we make within our health is mindset mattered. So what a fantastic foundation you've put down. To then, you said, after you went through this process, you started thinking about how else you can apply these holistic choices, these healthy choices, to the rest of your life. What's going on next?
I suppose I've last year I had the opportunity to interview a lot of people in the area of natural health, well-being, and change. A lot of holistic practitioners, and I had studied these areas to some degree, but not a large degree. So when I had the opportunity to interview these people, I got to see a more in-depth viewpoint into these subject areas, and all of which fascinated me. Every single one, every person I had spoken to had a different viewpoint, and a different approach to holistic health and well-being, and that made me think, wow, there's so many different approaches. There's so many different ways that we can start living a natural and healthy life. And I personally believe, and you can disagree with me if you like, I really don't mind, but I personally believe that if we have an open mind about life and choices, then if we do the research, then I personally believe there's a natural alternative to anything you're going through in life. And that may seem quite extreme, and I understand that. But for me, I think I've searched so many different alternatives for many different situations in life, and there's so many different things out there. Whether it be we're eating healthy. I looked into the alkaline diet before. The alkaline diet's really interesting. I interviewed a lady called Laura Wilson last year, and she spoke about the different juices you can drink, having an alkaline-based diet. The great thing about it is the fact that it's 70% alkaline-based and 30% acidic. But when you have that balance, most illnesses and colds and things like that cannot survive in that environment. So just from making that change, it's not a diet per se, but it's more a conscious way of thinking about the food that you eat. You know, I'm going to decide to eat more alkaline-based foods, and with that, I can prevent myself from having some of these illnesses that I could have gone through. You know.
Well, I think that's the start of it is you know, mindset and open-mindedness to, you know, we are such that I can just take a pill for that. I can just be instantly cured with whatever I've got, or dramatically cured with whatever I have. God forbid someone's diagnosed with cancer. My mom is living in stage 4 kidney failure. When she was diagnosed, it was an incredibly traumatic experience for both her and all of us. And through diet and exercise and lifestyle change and mindset change, she has not cured her kidneys by any means, but she's still around and kicking, and they expected, you know, they gave her a very short lifespan when she started, but you start looking at what you're putting into your body, and that affects what happens in your body. It's amazing. So you've interviewed all these people. You're drinking your green drink now, which is wonderful to be doing on my Healthy You show. And now, do you find you're not only thinking better, you're feeling better, you have more energy, you feel empowered by these choices? What's going on?
Yeah, I do feel empowered by these choices, but for me it feels like something that I need to do in order to share this message with other people, because my business is, in a way, isn't about natural health well-being so much anymore, but I really want to help other people get the message out about what they do, because in turn, if they can get the message out about what they do, then they can help more and more people in the long run. So my message is to more help inspire people. So I think I've gone off your question actually there. Could you ask that again?
No, that's perfect. Because with you, my question was, now that you're feeling better and thinking better, you are making better choices. And through that making better choices, where are those choices taking you now?
Yeah, interesting one.
Well, you kind of answered it, even though you didn't think you did, because it's getting the message to more people. Do you have a plan for that? I know you do.
Yeah, I do have a plan. I suppose if I'm about to verbalize this means I'm going to have to do it now.
Yes, sir. There is an accountability factor, but go ahead. We'll help you. We're all here for you.
Okay. Okay. So I was. Let me think about the right way to word this, because I was just slightly put on the spot there. I wasn't ready for this.
Oh, I don't want to put you on the spot, and you don't have to do your. Well, you know my term for it. It's the big monster plan. But what is the next step you're taking? You don't have to go that far, Andy. I'm not putting you on the spot. What is the next step you're taking in getting your message out and helping people understand that they can make these choices for themselves?
Well, one is to inspire people on a daily basis to think about how they can make healthy choices, change their mindset, whatever it might be. If I can inspire people, like take people down and think, someone's thinking about going on a diet to lose weight. Something as simple as that, and I think if you think about how your mind can affect the way you eat, you know, if you think that you can take food out of your diet quite quickly, just by understanding that certain pictures in your mind create certain cravings and things like that, then we can take those. We can have better choices in terms of food. But in terms of my long-term goal, because I will go back to that because I think it's nice to share it. But what I wanted to do was, it's probably going to be 2 years from now, or 1 or 2 years, but what I'd love to do is do a documentary series about all the natural cures for modern day medicine. Well, all the natural cures for certain illnesses, and within that documentary series, my big aim was to come at it from a modern day standpoint, the way that some people might be thinking in terms of modern ways of looking at things at the moment, like modern mindset. Because I think in order to make a shift and to make a change, we need to approach it from other people's standpoints. So I really wanted to help people create that shift, and within that, hopefully create a change at the same time. Because for me, it was that shift, that light bulb moment that made me think about that transition and change. So if there was a way that I could help create that transition point for people, so people can think about these natural cures, or you probably shouldn't say cures, but I'm more than happy to say cures anyway. But
you can say cures.
more people can live a healthy life. And I suppose one of my big missions at the moment is um, I I've been looking around for a long time now about natural cures or alternative cures, you could say, for cancer. Now, cancer's massive, absolutely massive, and there's so much around about cancer and what you should be doing in order to overcome it. But there is also a huge amount of alternatives out there. Um, I mean, each one of us knows someone that's been passed away from cancer or someone that's had it, and there are many natural cures out there, and it's being able to get that out to people so that they can start living life again to the full, and not having to go through the pain and the suffering that people would go through with the modern day treatments that are currently out there, like chemotherapy or radiotherapy. I could talk about like different natural cures for cancers for a long time because I'm really passionate about it, and I feel so sorry for people that feel that they have to take radiotherapy and chemotherapy. It's like a doctor's giving them one choice, and because fear is something I talk about fear a lot, but fear is something that holds us back in so many different areas. Not just approaching and trying to achieve our goals in life, but fear is I would possibly say it's the underlying thing that creates change. Because if we don't have that fear, then we will look at alternatives. We won't be pushed into a certain area and say we have to make this choice. But I would say if you're looking to make natural and healthy choices in life, I'd say start early, because if you start early, then when these situations come up, I mean, we're all going to face health problems. I'll be honest. I think in some way or form we will probably face some health challenges at some point. But it's what we do from there. It's what we do from there which will help us live that healthy life.
And you know what we'll do before, if your message gets out to the world, and you know, one person at a time, they'll multiply, the compounding effects kicks in, and as we make healthier choices, mind, body, and spirit, like you said, at a younger age, then the big issues of everybody knows somebody who has been afflicted with some sort of cancer, those would go away if we were more conscious of what we were doing. You know, the obesity problem in this country, and yours too. I mean, although Jamie Oliver came over here to help us, thank you very much for loaning him to us for a little while. You know, just the choices we make and how they will. I think this society has a disconnect between what I do now and what's going to happen to me later. And if they connect that, maybe that would just be the fear that inspires them to make good choices now. I'm not sure. What do you think?
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. Definitely.
I think it's about, you know, a holistic approach right from the beginning. You know, teaching people about how, you know, what they're putting into their bodies, where they get that from, you know, what they use in their house, what's in their environment, you know, how they can stay healthy through exercising, how they can, you know, relax from the stressful world right from when they're little, so that, you know, as they grow to be citizens who are contributing more in society, they're able to impact others, just like what Andy's saying about having an influence on other people's lives, so that we can make this, you know, world a better place.
How do you find that philosophy with your children?
Well, I mean, I mean, the reason why I started growing our own garden was because they needed to see where our food comes from, and you know, they dig in the dirt nearly every day now, which is great. And you know, we've started to eat our own vegetables, you know, spinach and lettuce and radishes and carrots that are coming out of our garden now, and you know, it's really taught them the value of healthy eating. And we try and walk to school, and they love scootering, and I think it's really good for them. And I think, you know, the sooner they learn to exercise and to eat well and to be confident citizens who contribute, then I think the world's going to be a better place.
Yeah, definitely.
That's so true. That is so true. So I can't believe we've been talking to for a half an hour, because I've been mesmerized the whole time.
Can I ask one question before we go?
Yes, please.
When you cleared your mind from all of the 5 factors that hold you back, was that like a weight being lifted off your shoulders, or was it just a cleansing of your mind so that it was open to new possibilities and to positivity?
I would say it's a bit of both, actually. There was a bit of both there. So the weight was lifted off my shoulders, and it gave me space in my mind to think more clearly again. I think we've all had those experiences of overwhelm as well when we're trying to learn a new skill, and we just can't take any more in, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's interesting.
I've had that experience in the past, and it's completely just opened my mind up so that I could listen to the messages that I was hearing, which is nice. What one of our good friends, Tracy, talks about in her weekly show.
I love it, the feeling that you go through as well there, because it's probably in some respects an undescribable feeling, because it's quite relaxed, it's calm, and you've got excitement at the same time. You know, you've got a lot of emotions mixed into one, but they're not the negative emotions that you would have had before. They seem like they're replaced, because all it was reframing in your mind. I did want to share a book with everybody, actually, quickly, if that's okay.
Please.
Because the mind really does affect the body as well. And if you're interested in looking at natural cures for different illnesses, then there's always a scientific background behind it. But when I was looking at hypnosis and hypnotherapy, I also looked for other books about the science behind it. And I found this book that I searched online for quite a while. Quite an old book, but it's called, if you can read that. Can you read that?
Psychology of
it's called
of the mind-body healing.
Yeah, it's called the Psychobiology of the Mind-Body Healing. So what it tells us is the chemical changes that happen within our body when we undergo, you could say, a state of hypnosis, when we experience different levels of trance, because hypnosis and hypnotherapy is just accessing different levels of consciousness so we can make unconscious changes within our life, which in turn can help you make conscious changes. But that's a fantastic book, not just about hypnosis in some respects, but also about the biology of the mind and how it affects the chemistry within our body. So you could say it in some respects as like taking a drug, you know, but using your mind to make those changes instead. So.
Will you put the name of the book and the publisher in the comment stream after, so we can go look at it?
Yeah.
Oh. Wingman and I are thinking alike, because she just pinged me in the group chat. Hey, tell him to do this. This is funny. We're mind melding here, you guys. And we are only a minute over, but I'm quite shocked at that, because I could listen to you talk, Andy, about all of this forever. And I I so enjoyed it, and I'm gonna let you guys sign off, and we'll say goodbye until next week. And it has been fantastic to know that it all starts with the power of the mind, and making good choices, and making good choices. That's it. So, Kirsten, you want to say goodbye, and then we'll let Andy close us out?
Yeah, just thanks so much, Andy, for sharing your experiences with us. It's been really fabulous to hear your path.
Thanks for inviting me on, and yeah, just allow me to share my path and share my message. I just want to leave a message to everybody else out there. If you know people that are going through different illnesses or different situations, have a little bit of a search for different ways that you can think of in terms of natural changes, because there are some out there. And if you even wanted to ping me and ask me a few ideas if someone's facing a certain problem, then ping me, and I'll find some natural alternatives for you, that hopefully can help anyone in your life that may be experiencing these situations. So thanks.
He's going to get a flood of inbox, because we all, I was talking to a friend of mine who's got a summer flu, and I was like, surely you know it's about the vitamin C echinacea combo, and, you know, get that in your system. And anyway, healthy alternatives to life. And with that message, we will close another episode of Healthy You. Happy Wednesday. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Take care.
I think we're stopping.